You ever see a life hanging by a thread? Like literally, you're looking down at this tiny puppy, and you know that in 2 minutes, everything could be over? That's where my story begins. One paw in the grave, a needle prepped and waiting, and me, just some tired vet in a faded clinic, half expecting to spend my day filling out insurance forms, not fighting for justice. You think you've seen everything after 20 years in this job. You think you've lost your heart to routine and bills, and people more interested in paperwork than compassion. But then a moment comes that rips through all of that, and suddenly, you remember why you ever cared in the first place. Yeah, that happened. The day was supposed to be quiet, the kind of morning where the sun finds the dust in the blinds and the coffee tastes stale, and you're just, getting through. Then the front door slammed open. This young guy, Caleb, jeans stained, eyes wild, comes in clutching something so small and fragile I barely recognize it as a puppy at first. He's choking back tears, talking fast, saying, "Please, please, you have to help her." I've heard 1,000 pleas in this room, but something about the way he's holding this pup, like she's the last good thing on earth, makes me put the clipboard down that we clear a spot on the metal table. He sets her down so gently, it's like she might dissolve if he lets go. I start the exam, hands working almost by memory, feeling for fractures, checking her gums, pulse thready as tissue paper. She's skin and bones, barely breathing, probably not even 4 months old. I tell him the truth. She's in bad shape, might not make it through the hour. I see his knuckles turn white as he strokes her head. "Just try," he whispers. "Please." "She needs a name," he says. "Rosie. Needs a name. Needs a chance." Then Dr. Pike, my so-called senior, the kind of guy who wears an expensive watch and never has a speck of fur on his shoes, breezes in and takes one look. "Euthanasia's the kindest option," he says, like he's reciting from a manual. He talks at Caleb, not to him, says the only mercy here is a quick end. I feel the old resignation rising up, the part of me that's followed orders, filled out forms, let policy win over hope for years. But as I move toward the cabinet to prep the solution, something stops me. You ever notice a detail that just won't let you go? Rosie's ears twitch when Caleb speaks. She's barely alive, but she's trying. I pause, go back, check her pulse again. And there it is, a tiny, stubborn flicker, a will to live so clear it cracks my numbness wide open. "Wait," I say, my voice barely steady. Pike glares at me. With all due respect, I tell him, "She's still fighting. I won't end it. Not yet." The look he gives me would chill concrete. But I dig in. Sometimes you just have to dot. That's when the real fight begins. Pike makes it all about liability, about wasted resources, about how I'm risking everything for dangerous sentimentality. But I see Rosie's eyes track Caleb. I see her heart steady. And for the first time in years I remember, I got into this job to save lives, not to manage losses. My tech, Janelle, brings in blankets and supplies. She's nervous. Everyone's nervous when Pike is angry, but she stands by me. Caleb doesn't move an inch from that table. We fight for every breath Rosie takes to as the hours pass. A strange energy grows in that little room, a kind of stubborn hope. Janelle pulls me aside later, her voice low. "I've seen too many cases like this. Dogs from certain breeders, all handled by Pike, all marked for euthanasia, no questions asked." I want to dismiss it, say she's imagining things, but the memory of all those unexplained injuries, all those quick ends, nags at me. There's something rotten in this clinic, and I realize maybe I've let it slide too long. That night, after we stabilize Rosie and Caleb won't leave her side, Janelle brings me a folder of missing files. Patterns start to emerge: young dogs, similar injuries, records vanishing from the system, payments from a breeder called Riverside showing up in Pike's bank statements. It hits me hard. Rosie isn't just a sick puppy. She's evidence, living proof of something much darker. Systemic abuse Pike's been helping cover up for years. And now, by saving her, we've put ourselves right in his crosshairs. The next morning, Pike tries to have Rosie seized as evidence of disease. He brings in animal control, official paperwork, the whole performance. Caleb and I barely get Rosie out before they corner us. There's this wild chase through the clinic. Caleb clutching the crate, Janelle helping us slip out the back, Pike shouting threats, and the officers waving legal forms. I promise Rosie, swear to her trembling body in the crate, that I won't let them take her. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to put everything on the line just to keep one promise. But Pike doesn't back off. He goes after my license, brings fake lab reports to the board, paints me as reckless, emotional, dangerous. The board suspends me. Rosie's fate hangs in the balance again. I feel everything falling apart, like all my years of doing the right thing mean nothing. Caleb's devastated, Janelle's scared. It looks like Pike will get away with it. Again, except Janelle finds one last piece. A microchip in Rosie, registered to Pike's own breeding operation, a direct link, impossible to fake. We call the state authorities, hand over everything. The tension in the clinic is like static before a storm. Pike tries to destroy the evidence, threatens me in a locked storage room, makes it clear he'll ruin me if I don't back off. But I don't. Not this time. State investigators sweep in, real ones, with badges and a search warrant. They scan Rosie's chip, raid the breeder, arrest Pike right there in his fancy suit. The scale of what they uncover, the abuse, the forged records, the culling of animals for profit, is enough to shock even the most jaded officials. In the middle of the chaos, I'm holding Rosie and Caleb's beside me, and Janelle snapping photos for the file. We finally did it. The weeks that follow are a blur. Hearings, testimony, rebuilding the clinic, finding homes for rescued dogs. The community rallies, the media covers the story, and for once, justice actually feels real. Rosie recovers, stronger every day, her golden fur shining, her trust restored. I visit Caleb and Rosie at their place, watch her run wild through the grass, a survivor in every sense. Sitting on the porch with them, sun going down and Rosie at our feet, I realize it's not just about saving one life. It's about remembering why any of us fight at all. Justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet persistence, the refusal to look away, the belief that even one broken life is worth everything. And you know what? Maybe that's what being human is about. One small act of courage, one stubborn puppy, one stand against the darkness, and suddenly the whole world feels a little less hopeless. If this story stirred something in you, if you believe every life deserves a fighting chance, share your thoughts below. What would you have done? Where's the line between mercy and justice? I want to hear from you, because maybe, together, we keep hope alive. You know, sometimes people act like the hard part's over once the bad guy gets marched out in cuffs. Like justice is some kind of neat, satisfying punchline. But let me tell you, the real world isn't a movie where everyone just goes home happy after the credits roll, not when the wounds run as deep as they do in a place like ours. After Pike was taken away, it was almost too quiet in that clinic, like the whole building was holding its breath, wondering what would fill the space he left behind. And to be honest, so was I. For weeks, it was damage control, calls from the state board, interviews with reporters, volunteers coming in to help with the dogs we rescued from Golden Meadows. People wanted to shake my hand, call me a hero, but every time I looked at Rosie or the other survivors, I just felt the weight of all the lives I hadn't saved, all the warning signs I'd ignored. That's what no one tells you. Justice doesn't erase regret. It just makes it a little easier to carry. Caleb started stopping by the clinic every afternoon, even before he was officially cleared to take Rosie home. He'd sit on the floor with her, reading old paperbacks out loud, or playing soft country music on his phone, just so she'd have something to listen to besides the hum of the fluorescent lights. Janelle would sneak back from her break with fresh treats or a new blanket. We were all a little scared, honestly, waiting for Pike's lawyers or his friends in high places, or just for the other shoe to drop. But life, stubborn thing that it is, started pushing its way back in. The other staffers who'd been scared to speak up found their voices. Suddenly, I wasn't the only one questioning the way things had always been done. Folks from the community brought in bags of food, toys, even cash donations, and for the first time in years, I felt like maybe we could build something better than what we'd lost. Maybe. Still, there were days when doubt snuck up on me, usually late at night, when I'd stay after closing and check on the animals one last time, just to be sure. I'd stand in the doorway of Rosie's kennel, watching her sleep, her little body twitching with dreams, and I'd ask myself, did I really do enough? Was it luck or stubbornness, or just that she had someone like Caleb to fight for her? One night, just as I was about to leave, Caleb caught me in the hallway, Rosie at his heels. He looked tired, more tired than a young man should, but his eyes had this steady fire I'd come to admire. You ever wonder what happens to the dogs who don't get a miracle? He asked, voice soft. All the ones we never even saw. And I'll tell you, his words hit me right in the gut, because I'd been thinking the same thing. I told him the truth. Yeah, I think about them every day. But tonight, you've got one at your side who made it, and that counts for something. Sometimes, that's all you can do. Not long after, the state brought formal charges against Pike and the breeding center's owners. The testimony was brutal: photo evidence, financial records, survivor after survivor. Rosie's presence in the courtroom, tail wagging nervously as I cradled her in my arms, became a kind of silent witness for every animal who'd been lost. Caleb testified too, his voice shaky but unbreakable, and by the end, no one in that courtroom could pretend not to see the truth anymore. When the verdict came down, guilty on all counts, I wish I could tell you the whole town cheered, but the reality is, not everyone likes their comfort disturbed. There were still whispers at the feed store, still folks who thought I'd gone too far, made too much noise, cost too many good people their jobs. That's the price of doing the right thing, sometimes. Community's a fragile thing. Easier to rebuild a clinic than to rebuild trust. But you know what stuck with me most? The little changes, the tiny victories. Like the first time Rosie ran in the yard without limping, or when a family adopted one of the rescued puppies and sent us a Christmas card with her curled up on a soft blanket. Or the way Caleb laughed again, that big, open sound that filled the place with hope. Even Janelle, always so cautious, started talking about maybe starting her own rescue someday. If there's one afternoon I'll never forget. Late spring, the grass tall and green behind the clinic, the air thick with the promise of summer. Caleb invited me and Janelle to his place, said he wanted to show us something. Rosie met us at the gate, whole body wiggling, eyes shining. He'd built her a little obstacle course, ramps, tunnels, a sandbox, spent his weekends learning how to train her, help her work through the nightmares that still caught her sometimes. She's teaching me as much as I'm teaching her, he said. Grinning as Rosie leapt for a tennis ball, we sat in the grass while the sun slid low behind the trees, talking about nothing and everything. Old wounds, new beginnings, the way one broken puppy had changed the course of so many lives. I realized then that justice, real justice, isn't about a verdict or a headline or even a single rescue. It's about what you do next. It's the work you keep showing up for, even when no one's watching. It's refusing to look away. As dusk settled, Caleb turned to me and said, "You saved her, you know." But I shook my head. No, we all did. Her, me, you, even Janelle. Everyone who refused to just let her go. Rosie flopped in the grass, tired but happy, her scars still visible but fading fast. And I thought, maybe that's the best we can hope for, not to erase the pain, but to build something better from the pieces. So yeah, if you're listening and wondering if it's worth it, if standing up is ever enough, look at Rosie. Look at every survivor, every scar that healed. The fight doesn't end with one win or one arrest, and it doesn't always feel fair. But if you've got it in you to care, to keep pushing, to believe that even the smallest voice matters, well, maybe you're already part of the solution. Maybe that's how change really happens. And if you've got a story like ours, a moment where you chose to stand up or wished you had, I hope you'll share it. Let's talk about what justice means to you, what hope looks like when the cameras are gone, what scars you're still carrying. Maybe, together, we can make a little more noise in a world that still needs to wake up. Yeah, that's my story. And Rosie's. And, if you're willing, maybe yours too.